Hello, everyone. Today we are starting with a chapter that is biomolecules. Firstly, we need to know what is biomolecules. As it is already stated, it is a chemical compound which is found in the living organism. So, all the carbon compounds that we get from living tissue is a biomolecule. So, basically, it is a building block of life and it has a specific important functions in living organisms. Okay. Then there are two types of biomolecules. One we name it as biomicromolecules and the second is biomacromolecules. The first one, that is biomicromolecules, these are small molecules that weighing around 18 to 800 Dalton. So, which have the molecular weight less than 1000 Dalton. Okay. So, they are also known as monomers because they contain only one subunit, okay, of a micromolecule. Fine. And these are found in acid soluble fraction. The second is biomacromolecules. Now, when I have to say biomacromolecules, these are having molecular weight in the range of 10,000 Daltons or above. And these are insoluble fraction, like found in acid insoluble fraction. Here you can give it an example of a nucleic acid, proteins, lipids, polysaccharides, etc. Okay. The next topic that we deal with is the primary and the secondary metabolites. Right? Primary metabolites have identifiable functions and play important roles in the normal physiological process. Here, you can give it an example of amino acid, nitrogenous bases, proteins, and nucleic acid. Now, actually, this complete chapter is detailed explanation of all these biomolecule, the amino acid, the nucleic acid, the lipids, etc. Right? Next, secondary metabolites are product of certain metabolic pathways from primary metabolites. Here you can give an example of a carotenoid. Now, when I say carotenoid, what are these also known as? These are also known as tetraterpenoids. These are also known as tetraterpenoids. These can be yellow, orange, or red in color. Now, you must have learned about the pigments in class 9th, right? What pigments have you learned? You have learned about a chloroplast, you have learned about a chromoplast, and you have learned about a leucoplast, isn't it? So, when we talk about a chloroplast, it's a green pigment, right? When we talk about a chromoplast, the word itself says what? The colored pigments, the colored plastids. So, carotenoids are the colored ones, right? Which can give coloration like yellow, orange, red, organic pigments, right? Which can be produced by the plants and algae as well, and even some bacteria is involved here, right? And drugs, alkaloids, essential oils, rubber, gum, cellulose, and raisins, etc. Right? Now, when I say about alkaloids, they are poisonous substances that are found in some plants, and these alkaloids can also be used in drugs. Okay, so we studied about the two metabolites, that is primary and secondary. Let's move to the next topic, that is amino acids. Okay, amino acids are the organic compounds containing an amino group and one carboxyl group or an acid group. And both these groups are attached to the same carbon atom called alpha carbon. And so they are called amino acids. Now, based on the number of amino and the carboxyl group, the amino acids can be classified as two. One is aromatic and second is acidic amino acid. Okay, fine. So aromatic are, what example can you give? Aromatic, the word aroma is what? It gives smell, right? So the tryptophan, phenylalanine, tyrosine, these are the names of the amino acids which gives out smell. So these are aromatic amino acids, right? Which gives a smell, is an aromatic, right? Aroma. Next is acidic amino acids. These are aspartic acid, glutamic acid. So this basic amino acid can be arginine, okay, valine, proline, etc. Now let's move to the next biomolecule, that is lipids. Lipids are not strictly macromolecules as their molecular weight do not exceed 800 Dalton, as we already learned that, but form a part of the acid insoluble pool. So they are water insoluble, they contain carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. right? Now, fatty acids has a carboxyl group attached to an R group containing 1 to 19 carbons. So, these fatty acids can be saturated and unsaturated. Saturated are with single bonds in carbon chain, and unsaturated it with is with one or more than one double bonds, right? So, for example, you can give here for saturated is what? Butyric acid. For here, you can give an example of unsaturated is oleic acid. Okay. Now we need to know about the DNA structure, that is a nucleic acid. Okay. Now, DNA structure, if we learn about, the detailed explanation was given by two scientists, that is Watson and Crick. Okay, so that is the reason we say it as a Watson and Crick model of DNA. Okay, so DNA is a right-handed structure, as you can see in the diagram which is given. It is double helical structure of two polynucleotide chains having a major groove and the minor groove, the gaps that you can see here. The two chains are anti-parallel. Now when I say two chains, it is one is 5 prime to 3 prime and another one is 3 prime to 5 prime. And these DNA is negatively charged. Okay, they are held together by the hydrogen bonds between the nitrogenous bases. Now here in the diagram they have mentioned the nitrogenous bases inside. Can you see the lines there? The A, T, G, C that they have written. Now A stands for adenine. Okay, A stands for adenine. T stands for thymine. T stands for thymine. G stands for guanine. And C stands for cytosine. I repeat, A stands for adenine, T for thymine, G for guanine, and C for cytosine. Now, always these nitrogenous bases, that is ATGC pairing, how is it? A always pairs with T or T always pairs with A with a double bond. Okay, with a double bond. In the same way, G always pairs with C or vice versa, C always pairs with G with a triple bond. Okay, A pairs with T or T pairs with A, G pairs with C and C pairs with G. So this is how the nitrogenous bases work in a DNA structure. So the backbone is actually formed by a sugar phosphate chain. Okay, and the nitrogenous bases are projected more or less perpendicular to this backbone, and they are inside, they face inside. Okay, the next that we have to learn about, now we already learned the DNA structure completely with the Watson and Crick model. How did they propose the DNA structure? Now the next that we have to learn about is the protein. The protein are polypeptides. They are polymers of amino acids linked by a peptide bond. It is a heteropolymer, which means hetero, different, right? So different monomers repeating number of times. And the function of a protein is what? Intercellular ground substance, that is collagen, as enzyme like trypsin, as hormone, insulin. Now trypsin we already know. What does it do? It is present in the pancreas, pancreatic juices, right? Basically it helps to digest the protein, right? So as hormone, insulin, to fight infections, antibodies, as sensory receptors, okay, and also enable glucose transport in cells. Fine. So this was all about the protein, which play an important role as a biomolecule in a living organism's life. Now we begin with a monosaccharide and a polysaccharide. Now monosaccharide, the word itself says mono, that is one. So they are joined by glycosidic bond. Right end is reducing and the left end is non-reducing. Saccharide is a term which is always related to sugar molecule, and mono is one. So containing one sugar molecule. Here you can give it an example of a glucose, fructose, etc. When I talk about a polysaccharide, poly is the word that relates to many saccharide sugar. So many sugar molecules is polysaccharide. Here we have a lot of examples given. So these are long chain of polymers of monosaccharides, right? That shows the polysaccharide structure. Now here the first example is starch, which is a storehouse of energy in plant tissues. Second is cellulose, which is a homopolymer of glucose. Third is glycogen, is a branched homopolymer found as a storage polysaccharide in animals. Next is inulin, which is a polymer of fructose. Okay. Next is chitin. It is chemically modified sugar, amino sugars, N-acetyl galactosamine, form exoskeleton of arthropods and a homopolymer. The next that we have to learn is about an enzyme. Now we know what is an enzyme. We know some names of the enzymes. We know what is a particular function that they perform in one's life, right? So when I say they are the biocatalyst, biocatalyst means what? That refers to the use of a living or a biological system or their parts to speed up a chemical reaction. So the natural catalyst that involve in living organism is that of an enzyme, which perform a chemical transformation on organic compounds. So that is the reason they are known as a biocatalyst. Okay, so almost all enzymes are proteins basically. They are the ribozymes, the nucleic acid that behave like enzymes. They have a primary, secondary, and a tertiary structure. They get damaged at a high temperature. Now, for this activity of the enzyme to perform, there are certain steps involved. Okay, the steps is what it is given in this figure, that is E plus S. Now, when I say E, it is enzymes. When I say S, it is a substrate. So, E plus S is equal to ES, that is enzyme substrate, which gives out enzyme plus the product. Okay, this is how the steps of enzyme activity, the action of an enzyme happens. Okay, I hope you understood the concept for the biomolecules for this part. We'll continue in the next part. Okay, thank you so much.